Welcome to Thunder Nerds. I'm Brian Hinton.
And I'm Frederick Philip Von Weiss, and thank you for consuming the Thunder Nerds, a conversation with the people behind the technology that love what they do.
And do tech good.
Boom! Bah! Bah, 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 bah. Hey, everybody. If you like the show, love the show, just find Brian Hinton aggressively adorable. Go to iTunes, subscribe. Go to YouTube, subscribe there. The thing that you're watching us on right now. That'd be super cool. Won't let me join. Hey, Janelle can't join, but she'll join in a minute. We'll see about that. Anyway, so let's go ahead and welcome our guest and get started while I text Janelle. We have this is a very amazing list here, so I want to read this off perfectly. It's a lot of points to cover. We have award-winning software engineer, Java instructor, TED speaker, Java author and instructor, AWS certified, NSA agent for the National Eggplant Parmesan Recipe Project, Kesha Williams. Kesha, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you guys for having me back again.
It's exciting to be talking with you again. Makes me hungry.
All right.
Well, I'm still not giving away my eggplant parmesan recipe.
Okay, what do I do with this thing? What do I do with this thing? Do I just
not have an eggplant?
This it? What do I do?
He just ate the
Kesha, this is not good.
I can tell.
I'm eating eggplant. Do I cook this first? You got to give the recipe away, or otherwise I'm just going to eat this whole thing.
Please don't do that.
I can give a few hints, but I will not give away my recipe.
All right, hint number one, and excuse me while I text Janelle.
She just showed up.
Oh, she did? Perfect. There she is. Hey, Janelle.
Hi, Janelle.
So Chrome does not like me at all.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Are you sure? And maybe it's Google.
I talked to Chrome, and they were like, Janelle.
It's like really ridiculous. Hi, Kesha. How you doing?
I'm doing well, and it's Keisha.
It's Keisha.
But don't worry, that is the story of my life.
That's why you put it in all your writing stuff. You always have it phonetically.
Keisha.
Did I do it right? I can't remember.
You said you did it right. Yeah. It's just Janelle, which Chrome hates.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, clearly, because I can't pronounce names.
Yeah, I read that on the Chrome message board. So, Kesha, let's go ahead. Come on. You had some tips. How do I make this eggplant?
So,
what am I doing with this thing?
The hint that I will give away, once you batter the eggplant, you fry it in coconut oil.
What?
That adds a very delicious, unexpected flavor when someone bites in. So I'll give you that for free.
Oh, dang gum. That's a good one. I love the flavor of coconut and the aromatics of it too. Just that
really delicious. Really delicious.
Kesha, you are I'd say a very successful human being, and you have a extremely well-rounded education, and you do so many different things. I just want to know, first off, how you got to where you are, and what was your first inspirations as a young child growing up to, one, get into this industry. Obviously, that's what we're talking about. But I think more importantly, where do you have this inspiration to help people, volunteer, do all the things you do?
I'm going to say that it all started in DevFest, Florida, when she talked to us.
Is that it? Did it all come from there? Before that, nothing?
Before that, yeah, nothing.
Wow.
It all started in Florida, in Orlando, a few months ago.
But seriously, as a kid, where did this all come from?
So definitely it started when I was very, very young. So I think I shared with you guys when we spoke before that my father purchased a computer and he put it in my playroom when I was in high school. And so I would always see the computer there. And like I said, I would have a Barbie doll in one hand and a computer manual in the other hand. And for me, it was always just playing on the computer. And so that really started my love for technology. And when I was in the 11th grade, my dad sent me away to a summer science enrichment training program. So this was my first time being away from home. I was still a kid in the 11th grade attending college for 6 weeks. And so there they taught me more about computers and chemistry. And so that really just sealed the deal. And when it was time for me to go away to college, I knew that computer science and math, that was something I wanted to do. So really my love for technology started very early on in my life.
Now, I just want to ask you, because I've heard you speak about this, and obviously we talked about this at DevFest Florida, where we met about a year ago. I think it was in November of 2017, and correct me if I'm wrong. But I want to ask you more of, I know your father got you this computer. What did your father do? What was his inspiration to bring the computer in the house in the first place?
Well, my father majored in chemistry, so he was a chemist, so a STEM field, but he bought the computer mainly to do just the family finances. So, and he put it in my playroom. We had a room that was the playroom / office. And so that's why he got the computer.
Nice, and I love that from there, just doing a little bit of basic,
yeah,
and there it goes.
And so, like I said, it's working in technology and coding applications. To me, it's all just playing, and it's a lot of fun. So I love it.
Last time, this isn't necessarily in our list, but I remember that last time we were talking about AR, that you were involved in some interesting AR stuff at Chick-fil-A. Can you tell us anything more about what you've been working on related to that? Because I'm kind of
what's on our list?
Yeah. I didn't look at everything. So can you elaborate at all on anything you've been working on?
Sure. So I'm not sure if I told you guys before, but we have an innovation center at the corporate headquarters, and we recently opened this new innovation lab in Midtown Atlanta that's really separate from our headquarters. And there we work with local colleges, and we have year-round interns. And so in that space, we really play around with a lot of emerging technologies like machine learning, facial recognition, AR and VR, just anything that's new and cool and exciting. We play around with it in that space. And so I was involved with some machine learning work that we did there.
You just did you have a presentation on WebVR, which is slightly related to this, right? Yes. I thought that was really interesting. I was going through the video, and I just wanted to know if you could tell us a few points about it. You say that WebVR is the future of their internet. Can you tell us what that future is and what that looks like?
Sure. So WebVR is truly an emerging technology. It's still in its early phases. A lot of people don't even know about it. But basically what it does, it brings virtual reality to your web browser, and you just really have to know HTML. And so typically you have to know WebGL and complex tools like Unity in order to build a virtual reality experience. But with WebVR, it really opens up the building of virtual reality to really everyone. And so just imagine having a website. Let's say you're selling clothes or you're selling food or whatever. In the past, you have like maybe flat images of maybe a blouse or skirt. But imagine if you can make it 3D, where a person can put on VR goggles and can walk around, turn, move, and just see things move. It just really adds this whole new level of interactions and engagement to websites. And like I said, it's very simple. If you know HTML, now using WebVR, you can build virtual reality experiences. So it's just really
very
cool.
Simple.
Very simple. Trust me.
Super simple.
Trust me. Trust me, it's very simple. My 11th grade son can build VR now.
Well, I'm sure your 11th grade son is probably a lot smarter than most 11th graders.
Prodigy there.
Yeah, I mean, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Well, he does know Java already.
Yeah. Your 11-year-old son, I'm sure, is way smarter than myself.
Java already?
So how does that change personal websites and enterprises? Like, how does IBM take advantage of this? Like you described the scenario of like walking around a product. What does that look like though for some kind of international conglomerate? What is that? experience?
Well, I can tell you how Chick-fil-A has played around with it. So if you go to www.cows with a Z, cowsvr.com. So imagine putting on like Google Cardboard and you're on this cows VR website and you're skydiving with cows.
Bye, guys. Bye, guys.
Or you're
I'm gonna be
driving
doing
with
this.
cows. Or you're,
This is funny because this was my dream last night.
It's just a really fun way to engage customers. So that's how Chick-fil-A is using it.
But,
So
but there's fun ways. But
skydiving.
what's the practical? Like, is there like a certain way to like definitely add value to selling a product?
How is this not practical? This is practical. There. Geez, loud noises. It's getting the word out for business on, hey, this is a marketing campaign for Chick-fil-A. Essentially, it's just like their billboards.
Sure. Say about the great point, Brian. So if it's like a marketing campaign, is there also though on the other side of the coin? I guess is what I'm asking. Is there more of a practical point of view of like having a can of soda pop and walking around the soda pop and reading the ingredients on the back?
That is doable. I think there are a lot of different use cases, and it's just really up to the creativity of the business. So for example, I can see this, let's say you are an artist and you want to sell your paintings online. I see you shaking your head. But maybe on your website now, customers can come in and it's like they're walking around an art gallery. So it's really, I mean, there's so many different fun and neat things that you can do with it. It's just really up to everyone's imagination on how they could use that technology to reach more customers or pull more customers in and just be more engaging.
I'm really loving these parachuting cows.
Yeah, that's what I was doing too. That was what my face was. And the loud screaming. That was me.
So what kind of career opportunities are there right now for developers or UX designers with something like this?
Well, for me, it's really just another tool in my tool belt. So I do a lot of web development, of course, using Java. But now I can add to my skill set WebVR and building virtual reality experiences. And so I see it as just another tool in the tool belt that makes you more marketable.
Yeah, I mean, I think too, a really cool thing is, and we'll be talking to Adam later on in this season, but you can create art with it too. Just like you were saying, artists can show their galleries off and things of that nature. You can create art with VR too, and there's people online like there's Gerard Ferrandes, if you've ever heard of him, on CodePen. He does some crazy stuff that's just incredible, and I can imagine like just looking at this like the cows VR thing, how amazing like you can just create just for fun and for learning and for kids. There's just so many possibilities. So that's really awesome. So I have a question for you.
Sure.
What is kind of like your day-to-day? Like, what is your go-to, like, I have this in my tool belt, this is what I'm using, this is the languages that I'm using for the day, for the week, etc. Especially as a manager, like, how are you coding every day as a manager, or are you not? Like, what does that involve?
Right. So unfortunately, I do not have the opportunity to code every day, but I do have the opportunity to at least have my hands in code. And so definitely my go-to language, Java. And so I started coding Java in the late 90s when it first came out. I was doing C++. And when I heard about Java, I'm like, this is the language that's going to take over the world. This is what I need to learn. And I'm so glad that I made that decision, because Java has opened a lot of doors for me. So definitely Java. I'm a huge Java fan.
It's crazy too, because I remember a time when it seemed like Java was, okay, Java's going away now. And then Google comes up and they're like, oh, we're going to build a whole platform, and then enterprise kept going, and it's exploded. Now it's like in everything. It's amazing.
Java is everywhere.
It's right behind me, probably.
Look at this Java.
Starbucks.
Oh yeah. It's definitely at Chick-fil-A.
Starbucks Java coffee joke. If you didn't catch that, everybody.
Yeah, one of the companies I worked for actually had I can't remember the company that made the computers, but it had a computer that was running microsystems. What was it? Microsystems or Sun Microsystems. Yeah,
that was a company that owned it before Oracle.
Yeah, they had an actual Sun Microsystems computer that was running like a Java operating system that was running the specialized software that was needed. And it was a crazy looking computer too. It looked like somebody from an alien movie or something.
Curious, what was the other option you were looking at besides Java at that time in the 90s?
Yeah, did it fail?
I was doing like C++ and Visual C++, and I'm so glad Java didn't fail, because I actually left the company where I was working to actually move into a company that would allow me to learn Java. So,
that's amazing.
I'm glad that it didn't fail.
Well, speaking about learning, you teach as well. I'm sure you teach at your job as well, pairing with people. I'm sure that's why you don't get to code as much as probably saying, hey, you know what would be better? Maybe if you used this instead. So how did you get started with teaching?
So I've always, I guess, had the heart for helping others and helping others grow. So I'll go back to my dad. I remember this is before he purchased the computer, but I remember I was having a conversation with him, and I told him I wanted to be a teacher when I grew up. And his exact words were, "You will never make any money being a teacher. You have to pick something else." And I said, okay, I guess I'll have to pick something else.
Really? Really?
Yeah. So I picked something else. But now I have fun, and I joke with my dad, and I say, hey, look, I'm a teacher and I'm making money.
You got that best
I think he gets you a little bit with that one. He's like, well, I told you.
Yeah, it's just always been in me, something that I enjoy doing. I just love like sharing lessons learned and mistakes that I've made so that others don't make the same mistakes.
Yeah, for sure. That makes absolute sense. I feel like it's almost like telling your former self to not do that thing. No, that's not how you want to write that. I promise. No, I promise. I promise. That's so cool.
Do you still volunteer on Sundays too? I remember you telling us that you volunteered with, I think your daughter came with you to the library and you were teaching kids how to code.
Yeah, so that's one Saturday out of the month. We do Hour of Code. And so we work with elementary school and middle school students, just exposing them to technology.
That must be so rewarding. What does that look like? Like, what are you showing them? I know you're not like taking out Java and showing them, well, this is how you parse this.
If you go to code.org, they have a ton of, I guess, pre-built exercises. So they have like Star Wars exercises, Barbie, Hot Wheels, Disney. And so for the younger students, they have these exercises that use blocks. So drag and drop blocks to actually teach coding concepts. But then for the older kids, they have JavaScript and Python exercises. So that's what we teach the older kids.
That's so cool. I'm going to try to get my kid on that then.
You don't push Java?
They make it fun for the kids, like using, like I said, Hot Wheels or Minecraft and Legos and things like that. It's just really engaging for the kids.
You don't push Java onto them at all, or?
Say that again.
You don't push Java onto them at all? Be like, no, Java's the way to go.
Not yet. Yet.
You have a twinkle in your eyes when you say that.
I have plans.
That's awesome. Hey, I wonder if we could talk about some of the projects that you have, because you have obviously tons of projects that you're doing. I don't understand how you're so busy in doing what you do and just Yeah, you're amazing. So let's start with the first one, the colors of STEM. Do you mind talking about that a little bit?
Sure. So that really, I'm very passionate about increasing diversity in technology. And the way that I believe we can do that is by showing positive role models to the younger generation. And so that's why I started Colors of STEM. And it initially started as just a website where I would showcase women in STEM, different STEM fields, just doing great things and telling their story. And then it kind of grew into a Slack community where we have women from around the world really mentoring younger women through the Slack channel. And so it's just a way to increase diversity in technology by showing positive role models.
I thought it was so interesting, this fact that I read on the website. It said by 2018, there could be 2.4 million unfilled STEM jobs in the US alone. Unfortunately, although women make up 48% of the workforce, they hold only 23% of STEM positions.
Yes, it's a very low number.
Yeah, that's an alarming number.
And it's worth noting that STEM, for not everyone knows, it's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics for people listening. Yeah.
Is that just a number that we see starting to increase within the last 50, 40 years? Or what do you find accountable for that?
Well, I've just seen where there may be women that start out in STEM fields like technology, but for whatever reason, they end up leaving. And so the numbers have just really continued to decrease. And I think about my daughter. So she's 11 now, and she already calls herself a computer programmer, of course.
And how old?
11. She's
Nice.
11. And so I just want like her experience to be different. And so it just really starts for me, I believe, with the younger generation. Like it's too late for my generation, but at least for her.
Don't say that. Come
I'm
on.
just being realistic.
Yeah.
I'm being realistic here.
Yeah.
But I just hope for her generation, like there are things that we could do now to try to move the needle and help retain women in STEM and things like that.
Yeah, I think with more conversation, the more we talk about these things, you know, the invention of the internet alone, just being able to have that kind of community that's out there and people talk about things, the more things get better. I always wonder when I hear people talking about the good old days, like what the hell are you talking about? There was no good old days. The world was horrible.
Yeah,
things are just getting better. So yeah. It's interesting. Hey, another thing that you have, and I ran Brian through this, and I got some interesting scenarios on here, is this SAM, Suspicious Activity Monitor. I was wondering if you could tell us about this, and I'll talk about the frightening read I got about Brian, but go ahead.
Well, don't laugh. So you're dealing with a person that calls Alexa she and her. Okay. And so whenever I invent or create like artificial intelligence programs, I always give them a name. And so,
sure.
Yeah, so SAM stands for Suspicious Activity Monitor. And so maybe a year or so ago, I wanted to learn more about machine learning because machine learning is a very hot topic now in technology, and there are a lot of jobs and there's just a high demand for that skill set. And so what I did, first of all, I love Minority Report. Who's seen that movie?
Hand up.
So I've seen it a million times. No. And so do you guys remember the concept of pre-crime?
Yeah.
Yes. And so in that movie, they use psychic technology to predict crime. But I started thinking, like, what technology do we have today that can actually read and analyze data and find trends and patterns to predict crime? And so that's machine learning. And so that's why I created SAM. So SAM is a predictive policing machine learning algorithm that anyone can talk to. If you're walking down the street, you can take a picture, tweet it to Sam. He uses the Twitter API to pull the photo from the tweet, and then he sends it through to a computer vision service. So computer vision basically looks at the photo, pulls out attributes about the person like age and gender, and then also additional information from the tweet like time of day, day of week, location. But all of that data is then sent to this machine learning brain that can predict crime. And so a tweet will go back to the user saying, you know, you need to run for your life, or you know, like, there's no evidence of a crime about to occur. So that is Sam. It was just something I did because I wanted to learn more about machine learning.
That's awesome. Isn't it a little creepy though?
No.
How fast is it? How fast is the response time?
It's pretty fast. Yeah. Like seconds.
Wow.
Now, do you believe that this should ever actually be used, or in like
Sam is not used, but there are several places where machine learning is used to predict crime. So it's used in the UK, it's used in Pittsburgh, it was used in Chicago. US Customs uses some level of like computer vision and machine learning to predict crime. And so there's this whole domain called predictive policing. And so it uses machine learning. Yeah.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah,
That's
it's here. Pre-crime is here. It's real. Yeah.
I bet you that was a really interesting project though. Sorry, Gino, go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're totally fine. Go for it.
Yeah, that must have been a lot of fun to develop. Is it how was it built in the back end? Is it Java?
So the ecosystem, no, unfortunately it's not Java, but the ecosystem it all runs on Amazon Web Services. So
cool.
There's a computer vision service they have called Recognition, and then they also have a machine learning service. And so I use those services from Amazon to build SAM.
Super cool.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. Yeah.
It's always the best when you learn a lot from something, for sure.
Yeah. And when I created Sam, I intentionally excluded race. So he doesn't look at race in order to predict crime. And I just did not want him accused of racial profiling. And so when I did that, for me, it was just a big aha moment. So, I mean, it taught me that machine learning can actually remove human bias from certain situations if we use it correctly.
Yeah, it's been proven that we create the bias. Mm-hmm. It's not because we're developing it, so it's us that is making it racist and sexist and a horrible AI.
Yes, that is very true.
Yeah, wasn't there some crazy AI that went?
Janelle.
Oh, sorry, Janelle. Go ahead.
This is like the third time.
Dang, Janelle, just jump in. Cut me off.
Speaking of being technically wrong, so there's this book written by a lady, and she is awesome. I can't remember her. You know what? I could just go to the bookshelf right now, but I'm not going to do it. There's this book called Technically Wrong that we share at Girls Who Code. So it's kind of like every time you go to a new Girls Who Code meetup, everyone shares it, right? So it's an open library book, right? And it's about machine learning in currently that is technically wrong, right? So it solves a good problem, right? Like let's say, Facebook, for example, that they had that year where they're like, look at your year in review, right? Mm-hmm. And it sounds like wonderful because for most people, that's great, right? You want to look at those pictures and see how awesome your year has been. But what if someone passed away, someone that was really important in your life, and you have all of those pictures. So you're getting this, seemingly innocuous thing, and it's really just tearing you apart, right? So you get this email that's like, hey, look at your thing. And the very first thing you see is that person that you just lost a week ago, right? It had good intent, but it was technically wrong, right? And there's a ton of things like that, not just, with Facebook, but with other companies where they're like, we're going to completely forget that, women exist. Like you can't be a doctor because you're a woman, right? Like you can't. It's not a thing. So doctors are not women. So yeah, I think that's a very interesting thing that you were able to accomplish, that you were able to be like, hey, you know what? Let's make something and actually think about, the whole, and not just, like one factor, right? Like if this person is brown or if this person is slightly off color, they're definitely going to commit a crime in the next 20 minutes, obviously, right? That's amazing. And I think like you get like a million high fives for that. So just want to say that.
Thank you. Yeah, nowadays developers, we definitely have ethical and moral obligations when we build like AI programs. We just have to make sure that what we build, that it doesn't destroy someone's life. So those are things that, 5 years ago as a developer, I didn't have to consider, but now I do.
Yeah, and it's technically wrong by Sarah Washet. I'm going to butcher this, but we'll have the link in the show notes. It's Sarah Washeter Boyker. I cannot say it. Yeah, there we go. There we go.
It's a very good read.
I am so sorry, Sarah. Your book sounds amazing.
I definitely have to check that book out. I love reading things like that.
Yeah, Frederick, you should scroll down the show notes and you say it.
I did. Worcestershire sauce. I got it. Perfectly pronounced. It's already.
It could be Watcher Botcher. Watcher Botcher. That's what I would say.
Hoocha Hacha.
Watcher Botcher.
Bless you.
It's actually kind of close. Yeah, I can see that being accurate.
Another project I want to talk to you about, Kesha, is your code in VR. This is interesting, and I really want you to go into the kind of the ideas about how it's easier to jump into somebody's source code in the middle of a project via VR.
What?
I just have a lot of crazy ideas, guys.
I don't think you have crazy ideas.
These are good ideas.
You are a thought leader. So what if you think these ideas are crazy, I'm going to jump on the crazy train with you and follow you wherever you go.
So that was something I created when I was learning about WebVR. And so for me, I learn best by doing. So I always have to have something to build. And so I just thought, just imagine putting on like VR goggles and being able to fly through Java code.
Fly through Java
code. Fly through Java code.
Java code.
Fly through Java code. And so I just see it as a way. So you join a project and you have to quickly come up to speed. Like that would be a fun and quick and easy way to come up to speed. You fly through the code. You just point and click and you're able to like see dependencies and fly through the code.
So like you could go backwards through like a timeline of it written as well.
Man.
That could be 2.0. That's a good idea.
I can imagine flying through some sort of like node project, all the NPM packages. You're like, what are all these things?
I think we need to connect you with Chris Coyer, and this could be a part of CodePen.
That sounds like not a good idea.
Not a good idea. CodePen VR. Oh.
I would jump into some VRs. I would jump into Adam's VR we were talking about earlier. That new one he has, Janelle, with the door.
Oh my gosh, his stuff is just so beautiful.
We're talking about Adam Kuhn, by the way. He's our Nets, I think our Nets guest.
Yeah, he's coming up on Thursday.
Cobra Winfrey.
Cobra Winfrey. Don't get bit.
Yes.
Yeah, that's such a fun name.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'm not going to be fangirling or anything. No big deal.
Yeah, we're going to nerd out. Hey, and you also, I don't know where in God's green earth you have the time, but you also have written some books. Is that right?
I've written live video courses.
Or live video courses. I in my head books. Live video courses. And yes. you do these for, you did them for Linda, but now you also do them for LinkedIn Learning. I think that's what they call it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
LinkedIn Learning.
Yeah. Do you mind telling us about some of these courses? And
sure.
Yeah.
So there's one live video course that I authored for Manning. So that was really about Sam. So I take learners through the process of creating their own version of Sam. using all of the Amazon's web services. So that's one course. And then, of course, the other 2 courses, they're all Java courses. So just helping people learn about the Java, JPA, just mapping objects to relational databases. And then one is more around microservices using Spring. Yeah, so they're all Java.
How does one actually go about writing a something like this for a LinkedIn Learning? Like, did they approach you like, hey, Kesha, knock, knock, you want to write something for us? And like, do you submit to this? Like, what's that process?
You can believe it. I believe with LinkedIn Learning, they found me because I was speaking at Google DevFest.
Oh my gosh!
So, yeah,
I was right.
Full circle.
Right.
And that's how Manning found me, and that's how Pluralsight found me through different conferences that I speak at. So apparently they look at who's speaking at conferences and they check out backgrounds, and then they approach people about writing courses. So that's how they all found me, through speaking at technical conferences.
Are you still doing Pluralsight?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's amazing. I need to check out some of your courses because Pluralsight is awesome.
Yes.
Yay! That must be like super challenging though, right? Like being able to do those things. Like, okay, how do I break this down for somebody who's learning this, even though I already know it?
Yeah. So basically, you start out with this outline, and then you submit that outline for approval. And then once they approve it, you just go really step by step, piece by piece. And they always have what they call like a technical proofer. So someone that reviews what you've written, and they go through it, make sure it's easy to follow and easy to learn. And then they just go from there. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's something I do in my spare time.
You should do a course on how to teach this stuff.
That's actually a kind of interesting topic.
That
would be incredible. I think a lot of people would watch, and a lot of people would learn from it, especially people who have like really good, like, you know, knowledge, but don't know how to teach other people yet. Like that would be incredible because you can teach people to teach.
That's very interesting.
Yeah,
that would be very popular.
And it would be super popular.
Have people that might be a little bit more reserved or shy, if you will, to come out of their shells really and communicate the things they know, because a lot of times we have developers that are slightly more shy and not so outgoing, but you know, that would be a great way for them to help market themselves and share their skills.
That is true.
Yeah,
I love that idea.
Who's talking about me?
Maybe. And you, speaking about teaching, you're also an adjunct instructor at the University of California. Are you still doing that?
I've been doing that for a little over 10 years now.
Wow.
I don't know where you have it. So
she's also AWS certified, right?
Yeah. So what do you do there as that? What do you do as an adjunct professor with them?
So I teach online. So of course I teach a Java 1 course, Java 2 course, object-oriented analysis and design patterns. So there again, that's something I do in my spare time.
You have spare time?
Not really. There's never a dull moment in my life.
I feel like we just need to like give you a ton of like gifts that say "Yes, Queen," like just all over the place. Like, you are amazing.
How many kids do you have? You have 4 kids, right? 3 kids. How do you have? So you have a full-time job, 3 kids,
and a husband.
Oh gosh!
You volunteer all the time.
Why is that the gossip Cosmo?
Because she has 3 kids and a husband. That's a fourth person.
Thank you.
That's a fourth child.
Yeah.
I didn't say it.
Hey, sorry, man. Where do you find the time, Kesha? Seriously, where do you find the time to do what you do?
She doesn't sleep. Gosh, jeez.
Do you sleep? Are you one of those 4-hour sleep kind of people?
I'm not that bad.
5 hours?
5, 6 hours.
That's all you need?
Yeah, that's all I need.
Seriously though, where do you find the time to do all this? Because I mean, even if you're sleeping like 5, 6 hours a night, there's still life.
Yeah, it's all about priority. So there are times on like Saturdays when I focus on writing courses, but then there are other Saturdays when it's all about the family and all about the kids. And so I do my best to try to balance family life, work life, and then all of these side projects that I love. But definitely there's never a dull moment.
No, I
Never.
guess not. Yeah, like you write for, what is it? You news for InfoQ?
InfoQ, yeah. So I write Java news for InfoQ.
I was waiting for suddenly you to come out and be like, yeah, CSS. I'm big into CSS.
Leads the Georgia chapter for Technovation.
Yes.
What's that like?
So I love that program. So that program, Technovation, is a global computer programming competition for girls, mainly middle school and high school girls. And so it's really like a 6-week program. We take them through the process of really, we challenge them to solve a problem in their local community by building a mobile app. And so we take them through the entire development life cycle of design, actually building, testing, and then at the end, they pitch their app and their business plan to a panel of judges, and the winning team walks away with a cash prize. And so that was really one of the very first volunteering, I guess, programs that I got involved with, just because, like I said before, I'm just very passionate about trying to increase diversity in technology. But it's an amazing program. It's global. A lot of big cities in the US and worldwide have the program. And I lead the Georgia chapter.
Oh my gosh, can we donate?
Yes. We always love
the link?
donations.
It's in the show notes. It's in
I
the show notes.
want to say the link out loud
It's
so if people are listening.
Technovationchallenge.org.
Yes.
Yay!
Yeah,
Yes.
that's awesome.
Donate time, donate money, all the things, all the donations.
We are always looking for great mentors to help the girls. So you can always sign up there as well.
Love it.
I hate to say this, but we are getting dangerously close to around the end of the show. We got like 15 minutes left.
No, this is the new 4-hour episode we talked about.
Yes, it's the new 4-hour episode.
That's
It's
okay
called
by me.
Dinner with Kesha.
Eggplant Parmesan.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got mine. Oh, good. I got plenty.
Hey, we have an office in Atlanta, so I mean,
that's right. We could come down there.
In town, let me know.
Yeah.
I do not have an office in Atlanta, but I'll come anyway. It's fine.
Trying to think of if there's a way I can get there now.
I need some remote days.
But I think we got to start closing out, Brian.
That's my cue for what is called the spotlight question. Which this is kind of a callback to a previous one, which was something that you have. Like, it was originally something that you have from your childhood that you've had for a while, but now I want to switch it up and be like something when you were a child or even a little bit older that you no longer have that you wish you'd kept. It could be anything. Could be a toy. It could be this one shirt that you really liked, that New Kids on the Block poster that you really wish you kept. So mine is I don't even remember the name of it, and it's a silly kitty thing that I wish I had still. But was this really awesome transformer that would like transform from a plane to a robot. I've discovered with my son and shopping for toys that they actually don't make them that way anymore. They're much simpler. They just like slide out and
they're plastic now.
Yeah, they're just garbage compared to, and I would have loved to have given that to my son and be like, here's what a cool transformer is like. But yeah, that's my thing. Janelle or Frederick, which one of you would like to go first?
This is a group question, by the way.
Yes, group question. Yeah,
you'll go last.
Okay, thank you.
You know what I wish I had? The first thing I thought about in my head was Hordak from He-Man.
Hordak. Which one was Hordak?
Hordak. I remember He-Man.
Yeah, so He-Man. Well, there was He-Man and there was She-Ra.
Yeah, I remember She-Ra.
Yeah, so Hordak was like the evil villain in She-Ra, and he was actually Skeletor. I know too much about He-Man.
Yeah, clearly.
Skeletor's teacher. And anyway, there was this buzzsaw Hordak.
Oh, I remember now.
Push the back, and these buzzsaws would shoot out.
That's what,
One of the kids in my neighborhood had it, and I always wanted that thing, and yeah, I wish I had that. Yeah, I'd punch a cow in the face for that. So yeah, I wish I had that thing.
Jeez.
oh, gee.
That's
Man, you're
intense.
talking. I mean, you're talking. I mean, I guess. I mean, it's Chick-fil-A. You're talking about punching cows. That's like.
That's terrible.
I passionately want this thing. So that's mine.
For me, mine is wow. I had time to even think about this, which is crazy. The fact that I thought of something and then it went away, and now here I am. So I think one thing that I really, 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 really liked when I was a kid that I don't have anymore was a tea set that my mom got from Puerto Rico. And it had, really cute little flowers on the side. And I would never play with it because I thought I was cool. And so I would read books all the time and not play with this tea set. But now, like, I'm thinking about it and I'm like, man, I really wish I had that little tea set because it's so cute and so tiny and reminds you of like a simpler time. And now it's not there.
Aww.
I know, it's real sad.
Okay, well, we know what to get you for Christmas.
I know, I need a little tiny tea set.
We'll drink some tea. It'd be fun.
Okay, I guess it's my turn. Okay, so for me, it's not really a physical item that I wish I still had. So growing up, I used to play the piano, and I was good enough to play for the children's choir in church. And so I eventually stopped playing because at the time I didn't like it because it took me away from watching cartoons on Saturday morning.
I get it. Like He-Man.
But I really wish that I would have, I guess, stayed with that and really developed that skill because now I can't play the piano. And so that's something I wish that.
Man, I bet if you jumped on the piano 1 hour a week, you'd probably be a master at it.
In my spare time, right?
Yeah, in your spare time.
Well, I think it's time for rapid fire.
Rapid fire. Boom, boom.
So this is all the questions that we didn't have time to ask you, but really, really fast.
Really fast.
So,
okay.
Super fast. Don't worry, they're not really challenging, I promise.
Okay.
So
what is the square root of?
Oh my gosh, don't do that to people. So the first one I'm gonna ask is very, very simple. Did you ever hate your curly hair growing up?
As a kid, I did, yes. But now I love it.
Yes.
Yes.
Who is one of your biggest heroes or heroines?
I would have to say Oprah Winfrey. I just want to meet her one day. She's just helped so many people. She just inspires me on so many levels. So, Oprah.
Favorite pizza toppings?
Spinach and mushrooms.
Oh, love. Best piece of advice that you've ever given?
Best piece of advice, really just to always believe in yourself and just forget what everybody else has to say. Because it doesn't matter. Just believe in yourself and go for it.
I got a total random one. What would be a good eggplant parmesan recipe if you had to think about one?
I'm blanking on that one. Next.
Roller coasters or water parks?
None.
None.
How about a beach in Jamaica?
Water park. Okay.
Gatorade or coconut water?
Coconut water.
What does success in your life look like to you?
Just being happy and at peace.
Tell him the mirror. Tell him the mirror.
The mirror?
Yeah, yourself. That's what.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I will translate for you.
Just being happy. That's all. Just being happy. For me, that's success.
Nice.
Pass. Pass.
Pass.
I have to think for a second.
Jeez.
Pass
Well,
is not a good one.
Jeanette.
Oh, it's my turn. Pass. No, I'm just kidding. So my question for you is, what is the best thing you've done today?
Today,
Mhm.
had Comcast come out and fix the internet.
That's the best.
What are some of podcasts that you're listening to lately?
Oh, that was my next one.
So you mean like other than Thunder Nerds, right? No.
Oh, of course. The question isn't what podcast you're currently on, but yeah, what are some podcasts that you're currently listening
I like
to?
listening to, there's This Week in Voice with Bradley Metrock. I love just Amazon, Alexa, voice technology. So I like to listen to his podcast.
Cool. And that completes Rapid Fire.
Rapid fire. Boom, boom, boom.
And Brian passed, just so everyone knows. Shame.
Kesha, we're getting right about the end of the show. I just want to know if you have any kind of final words of wisdom, any kind of pearls of advice to bestow upon our audience.
I would just say that it is a very exciting time to be in technology. There are just so many new and cool emerging technologies that I think have the capability to just change the world in ways that we can't even begin to imagine yet. And so if you're considering like a change, or you want to change, you want to do something different, I would just recommend moving into tech. And there are a lot of easy ways to get into tech. I definitely would recommend like voice technology and building apps for Amazon Alexa. It's a great entry point because there are a lot of code samples, a lot of great documentation, and you can literally have your app in the hands of millions in a matter of seconds. So I would just say technology is fun. So come join me.
Nice. Well said. And how can people get a hold of you if they want to learn more about you? You have some websites or Twitters that you want to share?
Yeah, so you can find everything on my website. It's www.kesha.tech. So you'll find links to Twitter, LinkedIn, and a lot of good information about me.
Yeah, I love how your website, well, one, it looks, you have an amazing website, and I love that it just goes right to an Amazon instance.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
But I just think too, like at the heart of it, it's so like tech and nerdy. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're at the end. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us and providing some really cool takeaways.
Thank you for having me back.
We love you.
Yes, we do love you. You're amazing.
We do.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And maybe next time you'll teach me what to do with this thing. I know, coat it in coconut oil. Don't just eat it. Just something like that.
That cannot taste good.
It tastes delicious. Thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you.